Did the man who founded St. Joseph, Missouri, steal from his customers and risk getting killed by one of the most violent mountain men in the American Old West? Their encounter is hinted at in the 1972 film Jeremiah Johnson, starring Robert Redford, but is better described in the book Crow Killer, the Saga of Liver-Eating Johnson. Chapter 2 begins, late in the afternoon of a quiet autumn day in 1843, the steamer Thames, up from St. Louis, swung round the famous landing eddy at St. Joseph, a journey of over 350 miles on the Missouri River. As the gangplank came down and the passengers walked ashore, the travelers found themselves under surveillance by the town's loungers. One young passenger stared up the dusty street, his belongings in a skin sack thrown over his shoulder. His name was Jeremiah Johnson. Real name John Johnston, also known as John Johnson, according to the book. After a short altercation with a local would-be thief, Johnston arrived at the shop of the old trader who had founded the town, Joe Robidoux. Joe was a wizened, squint-eyed, stooped, and bent frontiersman who could cheat almost anyone. The newcomer bought a Hawken rifle, brand new, of .30 caliber, which cost Johnston $50. This was double the price charged at St. Louis, but not out of reason. It was the best make and meant all the difference between life and death. For his traps, however, Johnston was later to learn that he had paid 5 times their value, since, on these, Joe would not have to answer to Hawken. By mid-morning, mounted on a new Comanche pony, Johnston was on his way. Old Joe, watching him leave, chuckled as he pocketed his spoils. Days later, up in the mountains, mountain man old John Hatcher discovered Johnston and easily snuck up on him. Though in the film, Johnson is first found by a chief of the Crow tribe, and a few days later by Bear Claw Chris Lapp. To young Johnston, bending over beneath the bank as he prepared a trap set, the voice of the mountain man came like a clap of thunder. "Cuss me for a Kiowa, but your back makes a good target for a—" And I'm not going to say the racist insult these mountain men had for the Native Americans. Johnston froze. A man may be a greenhorn, but be possessed of intuition. And somehow the young trapper knew not to compromise his life by reaching out for his rifle. Instead, he turned slowly and faced his accoster. The latter stood above him at the end of the prairie, holding his Hawken rifle loosely, but with the muzzle staring at Johnston and the hammer drawn. "What are you doing here, son?" he asked, and put forth a brawny hand. Johnston led the older man's gaze to his trap and explained, "I heerd in St. Joe trappin's good hereabouts." Hatcher laughed loud and long. "That's a good un," he said. "This place were clean trapped out afore 25. Kicking at the trap with disdain, he said, "Come along with me, lad, but leave these things hyar. Where we're a-goin', we makes our own traps." The two new partners ate boiled jerked venison that night. They sat by a campfire in the vastness of the plains, and Hatcher, ever willing to talk, spoke of mountain men and mountain ways. So began the apprenticeship of John Johnston for life in the mountains. The book never stated if he returned to the supply store to settle the score of being cheated, though his taste for revenge reached epic proportions in the years to come. Mountain men often went out of their way to take revenge on those who crossed them. For example, years later, Johnson and his friend Hatchet Jack found the body of their friend, Bear Claw Chris Lapp, shot in the head by 3 Blackfeet warriors in his own cabin. After hunting down and killing the murderers and burying their friend, Hatchet Jack performed one more vengeance for Bear Claw and for all the mountain men whom Indians had shot with rifles. He sought out the traders who had sold the needle guns to 3 Blackfeet, killed them, and pulled their heads above Fort Pack Trading Post in Montana. And that's how Bear Claw Chris Lapp was avenged by his friends. Meanwhile, St. Joseph grew into the city it is today. Thanks to the Missouri River, the people who built the city, and those who passed through. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel for new videos every week or two, and see the description below for a list of books, films, and online resources featured in this video.